The most common question that I get asked is definitely, how did I figure everything out? Was it an aha moment, or how did it happen? What was the trigger? And today I wanted to make a video because I can really narrow it down to 3 things that I can say if these hadn't been in effect, these 3 things, I don't think I would have figured it out. Hi, welcome back to the Anti-Alienation Project. I'm Maddie, and here on my project I talked about all things related to parental alienation. Last year I figured out the truth that I had been alienated from my dad for 20 years. I've been rebuilding my relationship with him, working on my healing journey, and speaking out about this form of abuse. To start, I want to mention that it is just my experience. This is not the experience of all alienated children, and I'm not a mental health professional. That being said, I think the process of me figuring everything out really started years and years ago. I had to become disillusioned with my alienator in order to start questioning any beliefs that I had been made to believe. You know, the process of delusionment with my alienator probably began like 10 years ago. When I entered puberty, I started to really fight against being constantly controlled, constantly criticized. It was not a healthy or happy relationship. Out of the 3 things that really allowed me to learn the alienation, I would say the first thing is that I was the scapegoated child. I've made videos on this before, the power of being the scapegoated child in a dysfunctional family system. The power really comes from being the only one, usually, in the family system who can really see the dysfunction. For a few reasons. Number one, you get the worst treatment. You see more of the dysfunction. You are not willing to stay and put up with the mistreatment because you're not getting those positive reinforcements and rewards. Usually the scapegoated child is the only one in the family who can see the dysfunction for what it is. That creates a lot of mental health issues, feelings of isolation, not being included, and being blamed for everything in the family. But on the flip side, usually the scapegoated child has the best chance of leaving, escaping, and ending the cycle for their own children. So being the scapegoated child was definitely something that allowed me to see really dark sides of my alienator that my other siblings have never seen. It also just got worse and worse with time. As I got older, the treatment got worse. You know, I started to question, why is she treating me this way? Especially once. Number 2, becoming a mother. Becoming a parent myself, especially to 2 little girls, has given me so much knowledge and insight into my own upbringing. I thought that all the treatment that I had from my alienator was justified, and I blamed myself for being a bad daughter. I believed everything she believed about me that was negative. And having my own kids, I realized, how could a parent do X, Y, and Z? I wanted to treat my kids differently than my mom treated me. So having my own kids really woke me up to how innocent and pure and vulnerable kids really are. When you're a kid going through this, it's hard to see yourself as that, like that. But having my own kids now, I realize, holy crap, I didn't stand a chance. I was at my parents' mercy. Like, I would have believed anything they told me. I believed in Santa Claus. Kids love and believe their parents. The third factor that allowed me to really figure everything out, it was finding unconditional love with my husband and my kids. The love that my husband has shown me time and time again truly is unconditional, and experiencing that showed me a world of difference than the love that I was raised with. It showed me that what I was accepting before really wasn't worth much. It was almost fake. It was crumbs of love I was willing to accept because that's all I had. But then meeting my husband, finding unconditional love for him within myself and for my kids, and then receiving that as well, showed me what real, true, self-sacrificial, enduring love is. My husband as well would point out to me things about my family, particularly my alienator, that didn't make sense, that were hypocritical, that didn't line up. And he helped me start to question things. So those 3 aspects, being the scapegoated child, having kids myself, and then finding unconditional love with my husband, those 3 aspects play a huge role, I think, in me figuring everything out. Now I want to talk for a moment about the actual event that led to me figuring everything out. In the beginning of this video, I spoke a little bit about disillusionment, the process of becoming disillusioned with your alienator parent. This process for me, like I said, took about a decade, but it really got stuck into play the last 2 years of our relationship. I began to figure out lies, secrets, false accusations. I don't like to go into the specifics, but from what I've seen and what I've researched, if severe alienation is going on, there are also usually other forms of abuse going on too behind the scenes, and that was the case for me. So what happened is I actually confronted my mom about a different type of abuse that was done to me as a 13 and 14-year-old girl, and the response that I got was baffling and made me sick and didn't make sense. And after that, I started just having anxiety attacks throughout the day, every day for a few months. It made me question everything because her response was bizarre. I just wanted an apology, but she denied at first that it happened, and then she called me a month later saying she spoke to the other person who was there. And yeah, it never happened at all, even though I lived through this. Just completely gaslighting me, I guess. So it was basically learning lies and confronting her about them, having her deny everything, deny lies in front of my other siblings because she didn't want them to know the information. Just really eerie and unpredictable things. Her responses to me confronting her about certain situations really showed me that she was not stable and that she was lying more and that she wouldn't stop lying. It's almost as if she had convinced herself of the lies. And when I realized she had lied about multiple different important things about my life, my identity, who I am, I started to think, oh my God, what if she lied about my dad? Or what if she exaggerated how bad he is? And that's how I started to think, maybe she lied about my dad too. When I first started to think that, I did a Google search. I can't remember exactly what I typed into my phone, but it brought me up to Ryan Thomas, who's also an alienated child who connected with his dad. Brought me to Ryan Thomas's YouTube channel, and I watched a video about what parental alienation is from the point of view of someone who's been through it as a child. I say this often, but as I watched that video, it was like hearing my life come out of his mouth. That was my aha moment, was watching his video. That's why I know the power of media and the power of survivors who've been through this as children speaking out in order to reach through time and space and grab those other children and wake them up too. Learning the truth was an extra layer of trauma I have been learning to wade through and grieve. The parent I thought I had, the 20 years lost with my dad. When you learn the truth as an alienated child, it's like, well, damn. You're left with two relationships with both of your parents that are really screwed up. And none of it is your fault, but it's hard to separate your own actions from everything else because you have been used as a tool. You have been used as a weapon to hurt your other parent. There's a lot of emotions, almost every emotion I think a human can experience. However, that realization, I believe, is a really necessary step for the alienated child to learn the truth, heal, reconnect with their parent who actually is usually the healthier parent and who actually loves them unconditionally, and create a wonderful life for themselves. I will never say to anyone it's better for an alienated child to live in a false reality. It's never okay to be letting a child continue to be abused. So for any targeted parents out there who think maybe my child is better off just living this lie now at this point, it's been so long, yada yada yada. No. It's not. I promise you, it's not. And I've even heard people say, I don't think my kid could handle figuring out the truth. Don't underestimate your kids. Learning the truth is horrific, yes, but learning the facts, learning the truth, reconnecting with my dad and telling him everything I believed about him for the first time in 20 years, all of this has given me hope and peace and love, and that comes from reuniting with my dad. I can assure everyone watching, life as an alienated child is worse than life once you figure everything out. If you're an alienated child, leave in the comments if you think that's true as well, because I really do believe that. Anyway, I know this is a short video. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I've done other videos too on this particular topic. I covered all the different triggers researchers have found that allow adults to wake up to reality in this particular way. There are a bunch of triggers. Some of them are becoming a parent yourself or getting into a romantic relationship. There are other triggers too that I haven't mentioned in this video, so maybe check that video out. If you believe that your children will come back, they're more likely to come back. Self-fulfilling prophecies are absolutely real. It might be easier sometimes to give up hope completely and mourn your child completely as if they had died. Move on with your life and pretend they don't exist. What's harder sometimes, I think, is to actually keep hope that they will come back and to visualize that happening and to believe that they will and to keep reaching out, because you keep getting hurt and hurt and hurt and traumatized again and again and again. And I understand the desire to want to give up. But please remember, your child is going to need you when they do wake up. If I could wake up after 20 years of this, I think anyone really can. And that's my goal, to help more and more kids wake up. We need to get those percentages up. For sure. That's the end of this video. I hope this video is helpful or insightful for some people. This is a very commonly asked question for me, so I hope this makes sense about how I figured things out. If you have any questions for me that you'd like to address, please leave them in the comments. If you like what I'm doing here, please hit the like button. It'll help the video get in the algorithm so more people can learn about parental alienation. If you like what I'm doing here, support my project, please subscribe. There's a lot coming up behind the scenes, so stay tuned. I can't wait to show you guys what we've been working on. As always, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. I know that one day this has all got to change, and I'm determined to make a change. See you guys in the next one. Bye.